Welcome to the Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. I am your host, Captain Matt, and today we're talking propellers. How to choose the right propeller for your boat to make your boat go faster. Everybody wants their boat to go fast, and we're going to talk through what you need to know to make your boat go faster and to choose the right propeller for your boat. They may be two different things, so stick with us. You're going to learn some things, and this is very important. The reason I'm doing this video is because you may end up buying a used boat or even a boat from a dealer and you're not satisfied with the performance. That you can get a sense that you should be able to get more performance out of your boat, whether it's top end speed, whether it's getting on plane faster. And we're going to talk about what you need to know so that you can make a smart decision and not compromise your engine. So, the first thing you need to understand is pitch. There are several different things in the size of the prop that are going to be important, and pitch is the key when it's talk about going faster. So on top, we've got a 21 pitch prop. On the bottom is a 13-inch prop. What pitch measures is the distance the propeller will travel if it was going through a solid object in one rotation. So a 21 pitch prop, in theory, will go 21 inches in a forward rotation. 13-inch prop will only go 13 inches. So your natural assumption would be the larger pitch, the faster my boat will go. And the reality is that's not exactly true because pitch is only one thing that needs to be considered, and there's a relation to pitch and speed. The second thing you need to know about the pitch is it's going to vary based on other characteristics of the motor. So let's move on to how do you know what pitch the current prop is on your boat, okay? So each prop is going to be marked with two or three numbers. The first one is going to be the diameter. So if you were to draw a circle around the entire blades of the prop, what would be the diameter, the total width across of that propeller? So in this example, it's 14 and a quarter, 14 1/4. And then you see the by 17. That is the next number is pitch. So it's diameter, pitch, and if there is a third number, it's going to be the number of blades. So in this case, it is a 4-blade prop that we have here, and that would be actually 4B. If it has all three numbers. So that's how you're going to be able to tell what prop is on the boat right now. Okay. It's also going to be important when you're looking at your next prop to make sure that you know exactly what it is. So a couple other things that are going to impact the speed that you get out of your propeller, the performance, the cup of the propeller. Does it have a curved lip to it, or is it a straight blade? What's the rotation of the propeller? Each engine is going to rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise. Spinning right is clockwise, spinning left is counterclockwise. That's going to typically be a right-hand rotation. That's standard. If you have twin engines, you may have one that's right rotation, one that's left rotation to give you a more straight direction. So it's important to know that piece. Every now and again, you'll find a boat that's been repowered and they put a left rotation motor on it, and you need to make sure that you have that left rotation prop. It doesn't matter for the performance of the boat. It's just every now and again you can get a deal on a left rotation motor on a repower. You stick that on there, you put the right prop on, and everything's the same except for when you reverse your P force will go the other direction. Everything else would be identical. The rake. The rake is the angle of the tips of the blades, how they tilt forward or backwards in relation to the hub. So an aft angle would be a negative angle. That's tilting away from the hub. A forward is a positive angle, and that's typically going to be on your larger propellers, and we'll give you a quicker hole shot. These are things that if you follow my advice, this isn't going to be that important, but it's just information that may be useful. One thing that is key is to know the hub size. That is going to be totally dependent on the engine. So when you're looking at your propellers, you need to know the exact motor, year, make, and model, and maybe even the serial number if you're working through a dealer. If you're working with the dealer for some advice, make sure you tell them what boats you have, because a pontoon is going to take a different type of prop a different style of prop. Maybe even the hub size will be different depending on the motor that you have on it, and they will make different recommendations. And if you have the current prop, you're not happy with the performance, bring that boat, bring your wide open throttle RPM, and bring your current prop with you, and that will be very helpful to them as they're providing advice. Next, you want to look at stainless steel versus aluminum. Now, typically, the smaller the horsepower, the more likely you're going to have aluminum. When you hit that 150 and above on the outboards, you're going to start moving over to stainless. Benefits, it depends what kind of environment you're in, what type of motor you're running. The aluminum prop is going to have a little bit more slip and flex, so because it's a softer metal, but if you are in an area with logs and rocks and you're going to hit some underwater obstructions, a stainless steel propeller can be repaired. You just send it out, they'll rebuild it, rebuild that aluminum around it, paint it, and you're good to go. Whereas the stainless steel, it's harder. It's going to give you, I'll say, better performance, but it's not going to flex as much. And it's if it hits an object, though, the problem is there's no give. It's not going to chip out like an aluminum will, and you're more likely to damage the gears in your lower unit or throw a hub and cause some more problems. But you're going to get better performance. And on the higher horsepower, it's going to be necessary because you don't want all that slipping as you get up into the 400 horsepower on some of these bigger outboards. If you're a stern drive, it's going to be similar, but you may find an aluminum on a smaller IO or stern drive. You also may have the decision between a 3-blade and a 4-blade prop. Here's the rule of thumb: is the less surface area that you're dealing with, the less drag. So a 3-blade is actually going to be faster in most situations. There are some exceptions, but in most pleasure boating situations, a 3-blade prop is going to give you better top end speed, better performance than a 4-blade. On a 4-blade, it's going to give you a better out of the hole shot. You're going to get up on plane faster, and you're going to be better for water sports because it's gripping the water better and getting you up and going faster. But because of the drag, that surface area, you're going to have a lower top end speed. So it depends on the application. Are you doing a bunch of water sports? Are you putting a heavy load in the boat? Well, maybe a 4-blade is the right option for you. Do you want to be the fastest boat on the water? Then maybe a 3-blade is right for you. It's going to depend on exactly what you're looking for. And then you may have seen some of these counter-rotating props. This is going to be totally dependent on the engine that you have, the lower unit that you have. This is a Bravo 3, it's a Mercruiser, and it has the counter-rotating props. They're always going to be stainless steel. And that you can't change that out. So you can't put a counter-rotating prop as of right now, as far as I'm aware, on an outboard that is built for a single prop. Some of the drives on the outboards are going to the counter-rotating as they get bigger and bigger, but that's going to be determined by the engine itself. The next thing you want to look at is OEM versus cheaper generic propellers. So my recommendation to you to get the best performance is to go with the OEM prop. Or if you're going to go with the performance prop, make sure that their materials that they're using, the production process is very precise over some of the generic propellers. You may save a little bit of money, but if you're after performance, if you're after the top end speed, definitely stick with that OEM or the more expensive propellers. Now, what happens when okay, I've got the right prop. Here's the thing with changing out your prop and adjusting the performance of your boat, whether it's better top end speed, better hole shot, pushing a bigger load if you're loading it up with a bunch of people. You want to look at your wide open throttle range. So this is going to be in your manual for your engine, and it's going to have the full throttle RPM range, or WOT RPM range, wide open throttle. Typically, you're looking at 5,000 to 6,000. This is from a Yamaha 200, I believe. This one in particular. And here's what the manufacturers recommend is because of the way, especially with the four-stroke outboards, the RPM range, the higher you get to that, closer you get to that 6,000, the better that outboard is going to perform. So the the manufacturers are recommending get as close to that high RPM range as possible. Shoot for that mid to the high without going over. The new RPM or the new outboards are going to have what's called a rev limiter or an RPM limiter, and at 6,000 RPM, it's not going to let you go above that, and you're gonna lose out on performance. So that tells you that you've got a little bit of the wrong size prop. And how do you determine what adjustments do you need to make? So here are some guidelines for you. Okay, every pitch that you go up, so if you go from a 15 to a 16 pitch, you're going to drop in RPMs because you've got a bigger propeller that's grabbing more water, and it's going to go in a further distance. Remember, a 15 pitch prop is going to go 15 inches in through a solid object. A 21 pitch prop is going to go 21 inches. So that's going to reduce the RPM, and it's going to reduce it about 150 to 200 RPM at the wide open throttle. If you go down in pitch, and assuming everything else is the same, it's stainless steel, it's a 3-blade, and you go down in pitch, you're going to go up in RPM, 150 to 200 RPM. So if you've got let's say a 150 or 200 Yamaha, which was 5,000 to 6,000 RPM is the best operation range, and you're sitting at 5,200 RPMs, you're going to want to go up a pitch and prop, assuming everything else is the same. That's going to give you an extra 150 to 200 or so. These are estimates. It's not written in stone. There's other factors involved, but that gives you a rough idea at that wide open throttle range. And you want to try to get, if it's 5,000 to 6,000, you want to maybe try to hit 5,700, 5,800. Couple of things to know when you're testing this, because there is a lot of trial and error. It's not okay, this is the motor, this is the prop that's going to get you top end speed. It's what's the motor, what's the weight, what's the boat that you're running, and what is the normal load. So do you run full fuel? Do you keep water on the boat, gear, the number of people that you have? All of those things are going to impact how that propeller performs on that boat with that engine. The more people, it's going to drop it's going to drop that down, and you're going to need to make the adjustments. So again, shoot for that mid to top end range of the RPM for best engine performance at that normal load. Okay, if you put more weight on, what's going to happen is just going to drop the RPMs. If you're running at 5,800 and then you put an extra 500 pounds of people and gear on, well, it's just going to drop your RPMs a little bit, and you may run at 5,500 at wide open throttle. If it's just you and the boat, you want to make sure that you're not hitting that rev limiter. And so you want to account for that as you're making your runs. If it's just you testing with a quarter tank of fuel, you want to say, okay, my normal load is going to be 800, 1,000 pounds more because we're going to have 5 200-pound people on the boat and a full tank of fuel, which is actually more than 1,000 pounds, 7 pounds per gallon of fuel, 6 pounds per water, or maybe it's vice versa. But take that into account. Too high or too low of a pitch can damage that engine. So if it's 5,000 to 6,000 and you're running at 4,900 at wide open throttle, well, that engine's working too hard. It's not hitting that level of performance it should be. It's putting too much strain. If you're too small and your wide open throttle is 5 to 6,000 and it's wanting to hit 6,500, that means you need to bring your pitch up a little bit so you can make that adjustment so you don't hit that rev limiter. Okay, so Now that's going to help you. If you've got other issues and you say, man, my performance still isn't there, you want to inspect your propeller. Each outing you should be inspecting your propeller for nicks. Is there a bent blade? Are there any obstructions? Is there anything wrong with the shape, the components? The Are you getting the best performance out of that? Maybe that's causing the problem. Maybe there's a vibration. Maybe the prop shaft is bent, or there's something else going on. And my recommendation would be to always carry that extra prop. If you're changing the one out that's on it now, you're getting the one that's going to give you the performance that you want. Keep that extra prop just in case. If you get in a tough situation, you can swap it out if you've got a prop wrench and you're good to go. So here's the key. The higher the speed you're looking for, the smaller the pitch. The more hole shot you want, the larger the pitch you want to go for. And that's going to be your guide along with everything else that I shared in this video. So I hope that was valuable for you. If you've got some other comments, we'd love to hear it. If you haven't picked up our Boat Buyers Secret Weapon Toolkit, you can do that at boatbuyerssecretweapon.com/toolkit. That is a free gift just to help you find the right boat at the best price. If you found the right boat, you want to make sure you don't pay too much, go check out our magic money saving method. It's at boatbuyerssecretweapon.com/save, and you can watch that quick video. We would love to have you subscribe. Check out all of our new videos that are coming out. We're getting great feedback on them, getting lots of comments, lots of thumbs up, which we always appreciate. And YouTube has also recommended a couple videos for you that you may want to check out. Thanks a lot, and we'll check you next time.